everyone, and welcome to our yoga series on detox. Detox is all about releasing things in our body, in our mind, in our heart, in our lives that either might not be serving us or potentially we wish to detox to make room for the new, make room for transformation. And so this video is all about opening ourselves up, particularly through detox. So if you want to find a constructive rest pose, which is going to be lying on your back, feet mat width apart, and then gently bring your knees into touch. Perhaps you tuck your shoulder blades a little bit closer together, creating lots of space in your heart center. And then begin to bring your attention to the ground beneath you. Feeling the support on your feet, on your hips, on your back, on your shoulders, and on your head. Maybe even notice the support that you're giving yourself. One knee supporting the other. And then intentionally choose where you would like to place your hands. Perhaps your palms are facing the ground, getting more of that groundedness. Perhaps your arms are at your side, palms up, in a posture of receiving. Perhaps your arms come to your belly, or your hands come to your belly, or your heart, or one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. There's no right or wrong here. Just moving with intention and finding stillness. If your eyes are not closed, go ahead and make your way there, or perhaps soften your gaze. Coming into a moment of intention, I'd like to offer some words from Deborah Dell, who writes in her book, The Yamas and the Niyamas, about purity, which is all about cleansing or detoxing. And she talks a lot about how cleansing lightens us and prepares us to meet our own sanctity, our own divinity. And particularly, I'd like to share her words on the practice of this detox, which we sometimes think about, especially in a new year. And she shares, perhaps the most difficult place to practice purity is with ourselves. Be honest, how many expectations and illusions do you impose on yourself? When I listen to others talk, I know that I am not the only one who is hoping to make myself into a picture-perfect version of me. Rather than planning ourselves, what if we practiced unplanning ourselves? Instead of striving to become someone lovable, what if we loved ourselves fiercely as we are? Instead of managing ourselves, what if we loosened the reins? The question remains for each of us to answer. Can you be pure with yourself in each moment? Or in the words of Anthony DeMello, can you leave yourself alone? And so as you begin to connect to your breath, perhaps thinking about what words Deborah shared that might have sparked something within you, particularly regarding this idea of being pure with ourselves. What gunk do we need to eliminate from our life so we can show up in this pure sense? And so perhaps for your intention today in our practice, it is to release or to let go. Perhaps to find this detox, this cleansing, by releasing things that are no longer serving you. And as you find that intention, I encourage you to bring your knees to your torso, to your chest, wrapping your arms around your shins, sealing in this intention, bringing it to the forefront of your mind. We'll take an inhale through the nose and an exhale to bow our head to our knees, sealing in our intention. Exhale, release to the mat, bringing your arms out to a T, coming into a twist. So inhale, and then exhale to drop your knees to the left. Perhaps you tuck your left hip a little bit closer to the midline. Maybe your gaze stays up to the ceiling or it drops to your right hand. Continuing to breathe in and out through your nose. And on your next inhale, moving through center, and an exhale to drop your knees to the right. Inhale your knees back to center, and then wrapping your arms around the back of your thighs, perhaps rock and rolling across the length of your spine to make your way to a tabletop pose. Our intention of detox today will be through twists. So knowing that twists really wonderfully cleanse this middle area. A lot of our digestive tracts get this nice massage. And when we twist, it allows for this release. And then it allows for a more open heart, a more open spirit. And so that's what we are going towards. In your tabletop pose, take a moment to rock from side to side, finding your stability, your balance. Maybe you lift one hand, lift your wrists, so that you find that really sweet spot where you're able to connect your hands, particularly the base of your fingers or the tops of your fingers on the mat, alleviating some pressure from your wrist. And then on an inhale, scooping your tailbone up, drawing your nose to the ceiling, relaxing your shoulders away from your ears into cow pose. And on an exhale, doming through the back of the shoulder blades, bringing belly button to spine, and perhaps tucking your chin. Cat pose. Inhale to your cow pose. And then following your own breath, move through your cat and cows until you reach the count of 5. Knowing that you can add extra movement, perhaps an extra sway, or even pausing for a breath cycle in a pose that might feel especially good. And once that is complete for you, make your way to your child's pose. So bringing big toes to touch, setting your knees out to the side, bowing your heart toward the ground, and reaching your hands, your palms out in front of you. Allowing your inhales and your exhales to help you to release. And perhaps you notice if your mind has already started to wander. Or perhaps you've noticed old thought patterns of judging, perfecting, worrying, controlling, coming into your mind. And I invite you not to judge yourself or to feel defeated, but simply sweetly acknowledge that voice, that part of yourself. And maybe even with a tenderness, bringing your forehead to the mat and rolling from side to side as if to massage, to hush ever so gently that inner critic. Can you leave yourself alone? Inhale to tiptoe your fingers just a little bit further away, and then exhale to tiptoe your hands to the right, finding a lateral stretch along our left side body. Inhaling and exhaling. On your next inhale, tiptoeing your fingers to the middle, and then exhale to the left side of your mat. Finding that sweet spot between effort and ease. A deepness of a stretch that still feels sweet without feeling tight or pinching anywhere. Inhale your fingers back through center, and then lifting to tabletop. Preparing for thread the needle pose. So bringing your left hand to the middle of your mat. Feeling really grounded, really rooted in this hand. And inhale to draw your right arm up to the ceiling. And exhale to thread the needle, drawing the right arm under your left, bringing a bend to your left elbow. If you have a blanket or a block, great options to really support this right shoulder. If you'd like to deepen this stretch, you can bring your left hand and tent it in front of you, or perhaps wrap in a bind behind the small of your back. And then allowing this twist to really open yourself. Seeing if each inhale and then exhale helps you to release tension, to let go just a little bit more. If your left hand is not back by your face, go ahead and make it there. And then on an inhale, gently inhaling to unbind, bringing your right arm back to the ceiling and floating it to the mat. We'll take a cow cat, resetting the spine, inhaling to your cow, and exhale to your cat. Setting up for the other side now, bringing your right palm to the ground in front of you. Inhale, drawing the left arm up to the ceiling, and exhale, threading the left arm under the right, bringing a bend to your right elbow, and then finding your variation of your thread the needle pose. So I love in twists how there is this beautiful embodiment of detox, of release. As you're in this thread the needle pose, maybe picturing your spine as a damp rag. And feeling like as you are twisting this rag, you're getting all this beautiful release. Perhaps even thinking about a sponge, you get this beautiful release as you twist it. And then there's this new openness to receive. And so when we think about offering detox to our life, we're really thinking about serving ourselves in this kind of way, or offering this openness so that life can bring us new gifts. On your next inhale, bringing your hand back to your face if it's not there, and then drawing your left arm up and slowly floating it to tabletop. Making our way to downward facing dog, however you wish to get there. Perhaps you bring one palm, print it in front of the other, tucking your toes, and then lifting your hips high and back. Bending one knee and then the other, finding movement here. And as you inhale, looking towards your hands, finding a slight bend in your knees, and then exhale, tiptoe your way up to a forward fold. Taking this first forward fold with some sweetness, some intentionality. Maybe you bring your feet a little bit wider than hip width apart, or find a gentle sway. Maybe you bring your hands to the back of your calves or to your hamstrings, offering them some love. When that feels complete, inhale to slowly make your way up to mountain pose. Bringing your arms up and overhead, perhaps bringing your gaze to the ceiling. And then exhale to float your hands down in front of you, palms shining forward. And I'll invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Inhaling and exhaling. Feeling the stability, the support of the ground. And maybe coming back to your intention. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale, bringing yourself to your forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, painting your hands to your knees, to your thighs, anywhere where you're able to create this flat back. Roll your shoulders away from your ears. And then on your next exhale, forward fold. Planting your hands, we'll step just our left foot back and drop your left knee to the mat. Untuck your left toes and take a moment to find an ease here, to find a lift. We sometimes dump into our knee or into our hip or perhaps into our hands. And so see if you can find some lift here, some activation in your core, in this place that we're going to be focusing on our twists. And on your next inhale, root your left hand to the mat and draw your right arm up for an easy twist. Take a moment here to play in this pose. Perhaps noticing if your right knee is splaying to the outside or to the inside. Maybe inhale to draw that right arm a little bit further back, or even twist your right palm to find where it's the most comfortable in your shoulder. paying attention to your left shoulder as well. Can you draw it away from your left ear, creating more space? Take one more inhale here, and exhale to float your right hand back to the mat. Tucking your left toes, lifting your left knee. Step your right foot back to meet your left. And then slowly draw knees, hips, chest to the mat. Tucking your toes, pushing them against the mat, and then lifting into a baby cobra. Exhale to lower. Tucking your toes, inhale through tabletop. Exhale to downward facing dog. Beautiful. Let's take one inhale together and exhale together. Coming back to our breath. Inhale, step your left foot forward. Lowering your right knee, untucking your right toes. Coming into our lunge and twist on this side. So maybe taking a moment to play here, to find a little dynamic movement. And to find that lightness, so that lift through our midline, perhaps activating that right glute. And when this feels sweet and steady, plant your right hand and inhale to draw your left arm up to the ceiling. Again, noticing your left knee, noticing that left palm. And then drawing your right shoulder away from your right ear. And take one more inhale through your nose. And exhale through your nose to draw that left arm back to the mat. Tucking your right toes, lifting your right knee. Step up to your forward fold. And perhaps this is the most important part of a detox or of a twist, is this pause, this stillness that we find after, so that we can receive. Inhale, slowly, one vertebrae at a time, up to extended mountain pose. And then draw your hands together at heart center. We're going to make our way to the long side of the mat. So perhaps you bring it to the side. And taking a moment here to find our center again, to find our stability. Noticing how this mountain pose might feel a little different from the one that we took at the beginning. And then inhale, sweeping your arms up and overhead. Exhale to your forward fold. Tiptoe your toes out wide, finding a wide-legged forward fold. So there are a few things that you can do to support this pose. Drawing your toes toward the center, toward the midline, so they're not stepping out to the side. Perhaps it's bringing your feet a little closer together, or even bringing your feet a little wider apart. Allowing this wide-legged forward fold to help you release tension from your neck and your shoulders. And then coming into that same posture that we took in our lunge. Inhale to plant your left hand on the mat and draw your right arm up to the sky. Twisting once again. If you have a block or a blanket, you could set your hand on top of that to offer more space. And we'll take just one more inhale and exhale to float your right arm back to the mat. Perhaps sway from side to side. Let's inhale to a halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Inhale to lift, planting your right hand on the mat, perhaps leaning your weight a little bit further into your toes, and then drawing your left arm up to find a twist the other direction. Inhale and exhale. Inhale one more time. Exhale to float your left hand down. Ooh. Take a moment of pause here, a moment of appreciation. And then on your next inhale, bending in your knees, drawing your heels toward the center, sweeping your arms ever so slowly and gently up to a star pose. And taking this star, your star, finding this openness in your chest. Perhaps lifting your gaze or even tucking your chin slightly to take the wrinkles out of the back of your neck. Close your eyes here and embody this openness, this feeling of receiving that can come from detox, from letting go. And meet yourself, your pure self here. Take one more inhale through your nose. And exhale, tiptoeing your feet together, meeting in mountain pose. You can turn your mat back the other way. Inhale, sweep your arms up and overhead. Exhale to forward fold. Planting your hands, stepping your feet back, and then lowering your knees to find tabletop. We'll sit back, perhaps bringing your feet to one side, and make our way onto our back for bridge pose. So planting your feet about hip width apart, and then maybe seeing if you can tickle your ankles as just a way to gauge however far your feet are from your hip bones. Tucking your shoulder blades in slightly, bringing your palms face down to the mat. We'll inhale to just gently peel your hips, being mindful of your knees not coming together or further apart. And then exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. One more time, inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. On your next inhale, drawing your knees to your chest, wrapping your arms around your shoulders. And then bringing your arms out to a T, finding that same supine twist that we took at the beginning. Perhaps adjusting your left hip to the center of your mat. And then inhale and exhale to draw your left knees to the mat. Maybe your left hand comes to your right knee. Maybe your gaze drops to your right hand. Taking a moment here with this final twist. To twist, to release, to cleanse, to detox yourself of anything in this moment that's stopping you from being here, just here with yourself. Inhale your knees back to center, bringing your hips back to your mat. And then perhaps adjusting to the opposite side. Inhale to draw your knees to your chest. And exhale to drop your knees to the right. Again, finding your supine twist, whatever you need to make this sweetest that it could be. And on an inhale, drawing your knees back to center. And taking one final fold forward by drawing your knees into chest, back into this ball pose. Taking an inhale to acknowledge the body movement, the heart work, the presence that you gave yourself. And then exhale, drawing your forehead up towards your knees, bowing to yourself. Slowly release, finding your place for Shavasana. This time of sacred stillness, bringing your feet out to the edges of your mat, bringing your arms to the side, maybe tucking your shoulder blades. Inhale, drawing your attention to the ground beneath you. And exhale to sink a little bit deeper. Feeling the support of the earth on your feet, on your calves, on your sit bones, on your back, on your shoulders, and on your head. And enjoy these next few moments to be open to receive. Slowly start to bring awareness back to the body, back to your physical space, offering gentle movements to your fingers, to your toes, wrists and ankles, maybe rocking your head from side to side. On an inhale, drawing your knees to your chest. Then on an exhale, rolling to your right side, using your right bicep as a pillow, taking a moment's pause to offer an openness to any transformation, any change, any rebirth that might have occurred, or a simple gratitude for whatever this practice was. And then gently pushing your way up to a seat. You'll meet sitting comfortably, palms open on our laps. I'll invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze. Taking a moment to acknowledge the sacred of yourself, the sacred of all those practicing, and the sacred of this present moment. Inhaling to draw your hands to heart center, lifting your heart to meet your thumbs. I'll invite us to bow and offer each other peace. Peace. Thank you for practicing with me, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.